So this is us. I'm Onyedika Chiamuso. Thank you so much. And my colleague Elisha Suo is behind on the background, supporting us with the admin side of stuff. And Dewe will be our project officer. We are Southeast Energy Agency, a non-for-profit organization in the southeast of Ireland, supporting the energy transition, both with community users and every active energy users. So the European energy communities, what are the key challenges with energy communities in Europe? It's kind of there's a general lack of capacity. Human and financial resources are generally lacking in our energy communities. There is also a lack of knowledge in terms of managing authorities and knowing where there is fundings available for our communities to utilize as well, and a lack of engagement and skills. And one we come across too often is the energy communities are too small to access larger fundings available. That is why the European Energy Community Facility was created to bridge those gaps in there and provide resources for our communities. So the energy communities through this facility, 140 of them will be supported to develop business plan, and there is 45,000 euros available for the communities selected in this facility call. How does this work? So there is a seed money being provided to the communities in terms of 45,000 euro, and there is also a capacity building provided as well along the funding. And then this would help the community develop a business plan that they could use and go to private investors or to the banks to develop their citizen energy projects. The facility operates across the EU member states and also including Iceland, Ukraine, Moldova, and North Macedonia. So there's a whole lot of bodies coming together to make the facility work. We have the Rescue EU, who are the project coordinators. The Federation is the network of the national experts that help in disseminating this information to everyone. And then we have GNE Finance, Energy Cities, Ecoris, and then Ricardo as well. So this facility is anchored locally with a network of 29 national experts across EU consortium, working hand in hand to support every community users. So the national experts, you might be wondering, they are the arms and legs on ground. So we promote the national core, and in terms of locations where they are not being spoken, English is not the official language. It is also being translated into the official language. We also support beneficiaries during the application process. We are not involved in the evaluation process, but we provide feasibility check to whether your business plan is actually a realistic proposal in the local context. We also monitor and the development and implementation of those business plans, and also we support non-applicants and also invite them to apply next time because there are two cores in this facility. So what does a beneficiary get? You get capacity building, you get financial support, which is a lump sum grant of 45,000 euro. You get visibility, you get information on grants and funding opportunities available. You'll get also access to best practices and also the overview of the national framework. These are all the benefits beneficiaries get from participating in this facility call. There are two calls for proposal. The first call is it was opened already in June, 2nd of June, and the deadline for that call is up to September 2025. So that's a long time to get your applications in and also to prepare in case you need some other stuff. But should you miss that deadline, there will be a second call opening up in spring of 2026. So there is an opportunity if you're not ready to go ahead this time around. So the first call has a total envelope of 3,271,000, and it will support 73 energy communities across Europe. So this kind of the timeline of the proposals on how it's gonna go. So the application opened on the 2nd of June, and then there will be the eligibility check, the application form, and then you have to submit your application before the 30th of September. There will be national info sessions, and also the national experts. We are here to provide you with to help you during your application phase. Should you have any technical challenges or some clarifications you might need, we are here to provide you with that information and help your application as well. And then during the evaluation phase, which is between October to December, so it's quite a quick turnaround grant. And after that, final list of beneficiaries will be announced by December 2025. And then they will be contacted if you qualify to sign your grant agreement in December. You have 2 months to sign your grant agreement. It's quite a very ample time for that. And then you have 6 months after you sign your grant agreement to develop your business plan. There will be also kind of a validation of the business plan. So after you submit your business plan, it has to be validated if what is in there is realistic enough in your local context. And then 6 months after that as well, there will be a monitoring survey. This is mandatory if you receive the funding, so that we know how that funding is helping you and how you're progressing along with your business plan as well. So these are just the timelines. If you would share the slides later on after the event so that you could see how it flows and when you need to submit your applications in. So the business plan, what does it include? It should include your financial analysis. That is the assessment of the investment needs of the proposals and the revenue stream and operational costs. What is this business going to cost us to establish? What is it going to cost us to run? And what are we looking to get out of it in the long run as well? Also, it should feature your technical analysis from the feasibility design to the market implementation strategy of the project. Also, it has to feature your market analysis. That is where you assess and reflect on the current market condition to see if it's actually going to work based on the challenges already existing in the market, as Ireland in our case scenario. And then it also has to feature the social and community section. This focuses on open participation, citizen engagement, social inclusion, and other social benefits that are brought out to energy communities as set out by the EU. And then the final section will be the legal section. This just outlines how your initiative complies with the EU and national definition of energy communities. So the eligibility criteria for this grant. So for you to be eligible, you have to be a legal entity. That means you're operating legally. You have your proof of existence because you'll be asked to upload this, and then you also comply with the EU definition of energy community. An applicant must also be based in one of the LIFE program countries, which Ireland is part of, so we are good to go on that aspect. And then the applicant also must commit to completing the monitoring and impact measurement questionnaires that follow the capacity building program. It's quite a very short criteria to go through to be qualified for it, which is really good compared to other grant streams. And then the evaluation system. There are 4 phases of the evaluation system, and there is a minimum threshold of 15 points for you to pass the evaluation criteria. The first section is the community operation and readiness. This is where your how established your community is will be analyzed, the governance structure, the roles and responsibility and experience of the community as well will be analyzed in this phase. You need to get a minimum of 2 points. And then also the project ambition, how innovative it is, the intention to address the specific need in that community, and upscaling or replication of your proposal as well. Can it be replicated in other communities, or can it also be increase or decrease to suit different needs? That will be assessed as well, and you get a minimum of 4 points in that section to pass. And then the coherence and plausibility of it, how feasible is your business plan actually, or your proposal, and the impacts of it, how much energy savings are we looking at, how much CO2 reductions are we aiming to get through that project if it should go ahead. And then also the stakeholder engagement strategy. This has to be taken into account as well, because you need minimum of 6 points to pass in this phase. Then the final phase will be the impact on the local communities. How is that? How is your proposal going to the long-term impact of it in your community and how inclusive it is? So there's a minimum of 3 points there to pass. So the slides will be circulated at the end of the show so that you could go right in details. And if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat box. And then, so this is just kind of the website. The website is euenergyfacilities.eu. And then you get your core documents there. It's very, very straightforward to use. You get your call for proposal, you get your guidelines, and then frequently asked questions. And then there's a big button there to click apply for funding. It's generally straightforward to apply. There's a self-assessment when you click into the funding before you proceed. So even before you proceed with the applying, you could see there is a eligibility self-check just for you to know if you are qualified for it before going into it in details. And then there is also a help text there. Should you have any related question, you could put in your question there and it comes directly to us and we provide you feedback on that as well. So there are a couple of other information sessions going on. There might be another one in Ireland. We're not sure at this stage, but always feel free to reach out to us if you should have any questions regarding the facility call. We'll just open up the floor for question and answers. I'll look into the chat and see if we have any questions there.
Good morning, I'm Yekachi. Pádraig Fallon here from Dundalk Golf Club solar project in Blackrock and Louth. Blackrock Tidy Towns, our SEC are our member as well. Just on it, if we're successful and we apply and successful, will your office, shall we say, hold our hand as we make the application? Will you be involved in giving us guidance as we work through it?
Yeah, that is our responsibility to provide guidance to you at every stage of the application. Just to be clear, we are not part of the evaluators, so we don't know who gets picked and who doesn't, but we provide as much guidance as we can to you to help you get the funding.
That's brilliant. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Pedro.
Hello, it's Tom Coleman here from South Dublin County Partnership in Tallaght. I would deal with a lot of community-based projects looking for funding for green energy. The two questions I have, first one is, do you need 1, 2, or 3 quotes for your grant and tax clearance certs? And also, how much are you allowed? What's the maximum amount you can apply for?
Is a lump sum grant, so it's 45,000 euro to enable you develop that business plan.
So how much? 45?
45,000 euros, yeah. So it's a lump sum, so you don't need any quotations or anything. In as much as you get picked during the evaluation phase, you get that lump sum. It's been paid in 2 phases, one at the initial get-go, and then the other one towards the middle of next year, 2026. So sorry, the first question, I missed that one now.
Was the quotes? How many quotes? You said you don't need
No,
any quotes.
you don't need any quotes, yeah.
And it's 45 grand in two phases.
Yeah.
So would you need bridging finance to cover that? In other words, if I go ahead with a project that I get approved for, and I've got a company installing, will I need to go and get bridging for that?
Just to be clear, the funding is for development of business plan. So
Okay.
it's for consultancy-based fees and man hours, just for general development of the plans and whatever consortium you might need during that phase.
Okay. Thank you.
No worries. Yes, please go ahead, Peter.
Yeah, hi, thank you. I have 2 questions. The form of legal entity, we're a registered SEC for like 8 years with articles of association and everything. Is there some other form we have to, like a registered not-for-profit or a limited company? That's the first question. And the second question is, there are costs to apply for network connections, a couple of thousand initially, and then something like 20,000. Can the 45,000 be used to cover those and get on that step on the journey at least?
The best of my knowledge is, I would say no. The grant, it's only for the development of that business plan. If the 45,000, this is kind of at your own community's discretion now. If it permits you to apply for gig connection, just so that whatever consultant you're working with is firm that this project is going ahead, you could support that phase of that business plan through that money. But the way the grant is set up, you won't be, nobody's going to come back to ask you for a detailed breakdown of how the funds were spent. Thanks, Peter.
And then the legal entity, is an article association enough, or do we actually have to be registered as a non-profit or limited company?
Yeah, I would say you would have to register for a non-profit or legal COG, just to make sure you take that bus properly.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
I'll look through the chat.
Hello.
Yeah, hi Joe. How are you?
We're here in Galway, and we have a project in mind. A lot of the business plan will be technically based rather than just accountancy based. Will the scope of the grant allow for that technical assessment, as well as the business plan, as well as the let's say the accountancy and the projections part?
Oh yeah, the technical assessment is built into the business plan, so the fund covers that bit as well, because without the technical assessment, you can't do your financial calculations as well. Kind of goes hand in hand.
Okay, and just to be clear, and it's kind of added to the previous speaker, to project those technical assessments, there would be a requirement to engage with the grid connectivity part of it. And to begin that system, you have to pay that initial 2,000 to get the ball rolling. I take it that would be also part of it. Would that be correct?
Yeah, you would say that it will be part of it, because it aids the technical assessments of the proposal. Yeah.
Okay, good man. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. There's a question there from Tony. Funding exclusive for business plan. How does this help with financing the project? Yeah, Tony, the funding is just exclusively for business plan, and the aim of it is to show potential within the community sector. Hopefully, we could lobby for more money to push projects to the do phase. So the funding is just for the development of the business plan. Thank you.
Just another one, if you could clarify, there is some pending regulation change here in Ireland regarding hybrid sites, which exist in other European countries, but not yet here in Ireland. I take it there's some form of system where you can connect projects in Ireland with ones that exist already in other countries of similar nature.
I wouldn't have come across that. Will you just break down more?
Okay, so let's say battery hybrid systems on existing solar farms. That scope here in Ireland isn't fully complete as yet, but it does exist in the Iberian countries. Would there be some type of connectivity through yourselves or through a sister group where we could get knowledge base from other communities that are already set up?
Yeah, we could look through our own network and see who in there is operating in that space, and we would then facilitate that knowledge sharing amongst yourself as well. Are you interested in that piece of work, Joe?
Yes, well, we have some neighbouring SECs that have solar and that are well on the journey, but our locally our grid, the battery backup is a requirement that they need. So we see it as an opportunity for another SEC to get involved in that part of it, storage and and kind of load shifting more than anything.
Yeah, no, that's very good. We would chat separately on that and see how we can support you.
Okay, thank you.
A question there from Oliver. 73 projects across Europe. Will Ireland be allocated a number of projects out of the 73? It is being done on a pro rata basis. There's a high demand countries and low demand countries. So Ireland will be part of the high demand countries, and we would have a bit of allocation. So depending on how much application is being received and how good they are that pass the evaluation phase, that will determine how much can be distributed to Ireland on a general basis. I hope that clarifies your question, Oliver. Type of legal entity, it's probably any CLG, non-for-profit, and co-op as well. They are recognized legal entities in that sense. Thank you. If there are no more questions coming in, I'd like to thank you all so much for joining us this morning, and please do get in touch should you have any more questions or support needed in completing your application. Thank you so much. Have a good day.